You are listening to the postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub where the vibes are free at the GCP. Check them out at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. The Sen Shuttle is running all through October. Those dates are available now. GlebeCentralPub.com. Hop the shuttle this Saturday afternoon, or how about Tuesday when the Sens take on the Edmonton Oilers. I'm Ross Levitan alongside the Linus Martian and Jack Richardson after a win that may have been a little harder to get than we would have hoped. But a win is a win is a win. 4-3 the final score. Sens win in a shootout. Martian, how'd you see that one develop?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots for them to still clean up here, but it's nice to see a win and get themselves back in that win column here, boys. 2 for 2 on the power play is a pretty good stat when we were complaining about special teams early in the season here. They originally didn't credit that first power play goal to the power play, but here we are, 100% on the power play, and then 1 for 5 on the kill. So not too bad there in the special teams department, even though I still got my qualms with the diamond, late goal, and they get the win. So I'm pretty happy with the way this one shook out.
Jack, it wasn't your typical home game. A second half back-to-back with travel. Seattle's waiting for you. Did you like the way they started this game?
I think for the most part, yeah. Like it was better than last night. Again, anything compared to last night would have been a bounce back. And we talked about it on the postcast last night. You guys mentioned it in the show today. It was great to just be able to play right away, get it out of the taste out of the mouth. Wearing the same jerseys again, it kind of sucks that they debuted those on the road in Buffalo. So great that the fans got to see those in person because they look great. I like them a lot. And yeah, it's not fun when the team is sitting there waiting for you, but when it's that long of a road trip for Seattle going that far, I think it kind of cancels out a little bit. And yeah, they looked okay to start. I think obviously giving up the first goal is never the goal. And that's 5 straight games now that they've done that, but they were finally able to battle back from that and kind of tie it up and take the lead and held the lead for a little bit of time in this game, which was nice.
Yeah, they held it for the second half of the first period and went into an intermission leading for the first time all season. It was short-lived into the second, though. 4.5 minutes in, they give up the goal to Chandler Stevenson. Stayed that way until Chandler Stevenson scored on the power play. There was no way the Sens PK was going perfect for a second straight game at home. No chance. But Ottawa does battle back, and big reason why Linus Ullmark in the second half of the third period, and especially in overtime, he made some huge saves to keep this one in reach. Dylan Cousins gets the goal with 1 minute and 46 seconds remaining from Batherson and Jordan Spence. Batherson's first point of the season after missing the first number of games. But Dylan Cousins is such an interesting player because one of the goals, I think it was Chandler Stevenson's first one, it was kind of his responsibility to get the puck out of the zone. And we saw that in the Nashville game too, where it's a turnover because of his side in the defensive zone and it's in the back of the net. But he's intriguing because all the tools are there, Martian? And like the point production is very good since he's come to Ottawa and he's continued it through so far this season. Huge goal for him.
Yeah, super solid, and I love his new kind of build for himself, right? I think he's leading the team in hits for sure. He's throwing the body around. He's using that extra size that he looks like he gained in the summer. You can see the difference. I think I talked about that on the first postcast of the year as well when he scored the goal in Tampa. But yeah, he's looking like a very complete player all of a sudden. It's huge for a team to have that kind of size up the middle, and they've got a couple big boys like that right now with Shane Pinto clicking on all cylinders as well, boys. I mean, this guy can't be stopped.
Dude, Shane Pinto leads the NHL in goals. He's alone with 6.
Yeah. I mean, that's an incredible stat for him with where he's at. I mean, contract year for the guy, right? So he's got that little bit of extra motivations. I mean, it might be a good thing for the Sens to just let him kind of sit there and compete for that contract because it's helping the team big time the way he's playing.
Well, I had a tweet all lined up, and I actually, hand up, I was really depressed with 2 minutes left in this game, and I started making the thumbnail, and I said genuine concern was what I had titled it. And I was almost going to lead with, imagine telling someone, a Sens fan, before the season that you would be 1-4 through the first 5 games, but Shane Pinto would lead the league in goals. And it was mind-blowing. So thank goodness for Dylan Cousins. Thank goodness for Tim Stützle in the shootout. That was unreal. You could tell Grubauer was aware, obviously, as a German. He knows the young stud's coming up, future Olympic teammate. He thought that Timmy had 4 more moves in his bag before he was going to put it on net, and he made him freeze. He didn't get his knees down in time. Goes 5-hole. Jack, what'd you see on that goal?
Timmy's so good in the shootout, man. Like that competition was built for the German. He does that move a lot. Like that's the book on him. But I like that shootouts are happening so unfrequently now, or less frequently, that it's probably hard to get a book on some of these guys. Like they were saying, Batherson, I think, is 5 for 15, which is a pretty respectable stat line in a shootout, but only 15 career attempts for Drake Batherson. And he's been playing hockey like for the Sens for almost 7 seasons now. Like it's hard to get a book on them. So I think Timmy's move, we've seen him do that a lot, but Grubauer clearly hasn't because he fooled him. The little hover over the puck is just so slick and so quick that it's impossible for a goalie to read it. And then a quick shot 5-hole. Timmy's game overall tonight, I liked it, really did in the second half of back-to-back. He's just, it's hard to harp on a guy for not being able to finish because I'm trying to look at it glass half full. He's getting those looks in the first place, and it will come eventually. He's going to get goals in bunches at some point. Right now, it's Pinto carrying it offensively, goal scoring wise. Another time, it's going to be Stützle this season. They just got to keep chugging along because we mentioned Cousins, Pinto, and Stützle. That's the strength of this team. It's up the middle, and they've got that, especially when Tkachuk's out. That's where they're going to have to lean on.
Tonight, with the shootout goal, Tim Stützle improved for 9 for 18. So he's 50% in this career on shootouts. What a sick move there. He almost ended it in overtime with a great opportunity. Then he got crunched by Brandon Montour. And from that moment forward, I don't think the Sens touched the puck. Martian, what'd you make of that overtime and the way that the Kraken were just so content to play in the neutral zone for the most part?
I mean, they would have had a better chance to win if they were trying to score in overtime. They held the puck for 2.5 minutes straight, and it was wild, man. They were just going top of the neutral zone, circle around, get followed everywhere, go back to the neutral zone, top of the offensive zone, back to the neutral zone, over and over and over again. Man, I can't even count how many times they just were beating the guy over by the blue line, and they just exited the zone on their own because they were just like, nothing here, boys, nothing here, just like skating around and around. Tim Stützle, the guy, was gassed out there, just trying to cover his man. The Sens were doing a great job of sticking to their guy there, so you got to give them a little bit of credit. But for all that time with the puck on their stick for Seattle, to only get that one shot on goal that absolutely got smothered by Linus Ullmark, pretty pathetic effort by them. It looked like they were just like happy to go to the shootout and take their chances there.
Yeah, and well, the one real big opportunity was off of Thomas Chabot losing his stick and then trying to join the rush. Why was he trying to join the rush without a stick?
He was so chaotic, I think, for most of this game. Some of the stuff he was doing out there reminded me a lot of last night. Luckily, he didn't get caught too often there tonight. But, I mean, the whole thing with the stick and not having it and then trying to kick the puck around and joining the rush without his stick and then leaving and kind of like just exiting the whole area where all the good action was happening in the defensive zone, abandoning everybody and just going to the corner to go get the stick because he realized I'm completely useless out here without this thing. So it was pretty funny to watch, and you could tell he was frustrated at the end of it. He was just like, oh my God, like what the heck just happened? But he came out unscathed, thank goodness.
Yeah, sometimes his decision making, as Dan points out in the chat, is a little bit peculiar, but it works more times than it doesn't. One thing that has worked as well is moving Jordan Spence into better opportunities. Jack, what'd you see from Spence tonight? He gets that huge secondary assist on the game-tying goal. I thought he was just a calming presence, and what he was able to do in terms of breaking the puck up and complimenting good players. Like the fact that in the last 2 games where Ottawa has a goal differential of -4, because the shootout obviously doesn't count, Jordan Spence is a +5 in the last 48 hours.
He's unbelievable. He's been the second best defenseman on the team, and that's not even an outrageous thing to say. Like it's shocking that he was in the press box, and I don't know if he didn't show quite this well in training camp, like obviously in the exhibition games, but maybe they really were just married to the Clevin Spence pairing having to be a thing. They didn't want to do Sabrango Spence because he's very much a valuable player on their blue line, especially when Jensen is struggling the way he has been. You need a guy like Spence. Like I think he played close to 20 minutes tonight. He was double shifting close to the end of the third period, in on the game tying goal. He's been great. And he led, the comeback that fell short yesterday in the third period, did 2 quick assists. He's changing their game offensively. I think a lot of people got excited about his underlying numbers defensively, but he's an offensive defenseman and they need to create offense, especially if you're going to be blocking a guy like Yakimchuk, who is going to come up here at some point and fill in that role offensively, hopefully. It had to be a guy who can create offense, and that's what he's doing exactly right now. I'd love to see him get some more looks with Sanderson. Not saying that Zubin Sanderson hasn't been working, but I think that any look you can give Sanderson that'll boost the offense, I think will help them. But Spence has been a bit surprising just in the sense that when they scratched him, I'm worried that he had a bad camp, he's not in shape, whatever it was, not doing so well. But he was great, Martian. I thought he was he's fit in well from that home opener, a little bit of rust maybe, but the way he moves the puck is just a valuable asset.
Yeah, well said, Jack. And I just love the way he's kind of just that little mini cleanup crew for guys like Clevin, who when they play the body and that puck becomes a little bit loose back there, he just scoops right in, he just grabs that thing and he moves that puck out of the zone. Nice tape to tape pass every single time. And yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see him move up the lineup a little bit. I know he got a great amount of ice time tonight. I think they probably would have wanted to get him out there in overtime if they had a chance to make a change at the end of that thing. But I like his game a lot. I think I said it out loud. I didn't really love his first game as a Sen, but that might have been a bit of nerves. He's settling in here really nicely. And like you said there as well, with the way that Jensen's been playing and his skating right now is probably not quite up to snuff here. I think we're going to see a lot more Jordan Spence moving forward here. You're muted, Russ.
Now he's shown in back-to-back games that he can play with the top dogs too. He was unreal with Sanderson in Buffalo for the 6 minutes, small sample size, and an even smaller sample size tonight. But in 2 minutes and 7 seconds with Thomas Chabot, the shot attempts were 8-0 for Ottawa when that pair was on the ice. So it seems like it's been working. And in terms of the most minutes for any pair tonight, it was Clevin and Spence at 5-on-5. It was 1-0 on the scoreboard when they were together. And the shot attempts were 24-9 for the Ottawa Senators during that stretch. So just an unreal performance with the micro stats for Jordan Spence tonight, who comes in as the secondary assist on the big goal from Dylan Cousins. Let's get more into how this game almost slipped away and how the Sens were able to battle back. That's next. You're listening to the Postcast presented by Locked On Senators. The Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the GCP where the vibes are free at 779 Bank Street. It is our pub in the heart of the Glebe. I know Martian and Jack and Pillsy had a great time at the Glebe Central Pub before and after the home opener, and you can too for every Senators game. They've got the Sen shuttle rolling to and from the CTC. It leaves an hour and 15 minutes before the game and brings you right back to the pub afterwards, all for the low price of just $18 round trip. So get on the bus for the Saturday afternoon game against the New York Islanders, the Edmonton Oilers next Tuesday, then the Flyers, Bruins, and Flames. All October dates are available on their website. You can also go to the pub to watch, whether it's the Blue Jays, the Senators, whatever the case is, they got you covered at the Glebe Central Pub. They've also got wing night every Monday, open mics on Wednesday, and How about cheap tacos on Thursday? But my favorite is Saturday nights. Live music with no cover ever. So go check them out, the Glebe Central Pub. The vibes are free at the GCP, 779 Bank Street, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Today's episode is also brought to you by our very good friends over at FanDuel. It is the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. The NHL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Tonight, I was all over shot props, which didn't always go my way, although I had Shane Pinto for 3, and that was cha-ching. That's the only word that's going through Shane Pinto's head these days. Cha-ching. And it's quick. It's easy. It's the best way to add a little more energy into the game. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Welcome back to the postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Linus Martian and Jack Richardson. You can follow us all on social media. The links are in the bio below. Please subscribe to the podcast. Be a friend. Tell a friend about LOSP. We are your team every day. Let's take a look at some of the numbers in tonight's game. 4-3 the final score. The Senators get the win, although they lose on the shot clock, 33-23. Sens power play goes 2 for 2, where Seattle goes 1 for 5. Faceoffs in favor of the Senators, 54% to 45%, 0.8. And then 0.2, I realized that didn't add up to 100. Seattle with 21 blocks to Ottawa's 19. Seattle has 27 hits to Ottawa's 19. And the 5-on-5 expected goals slightly in Seattle's favor, 57% they have there. Jack, what's the big story in this game for you? What are we going to be talking about at the water cooler?
Linus Ullmark. Linus Ullmark is back. That was a great game from the number one starter, especially after a really shaky performance from Levy. I was one of the guys, start of the year, saying maybe this is a real tandem situation. A little bit nervous about Ullmark in those first couple. But this was exactly why you pay a guy like Linus Ullmark. He was a brick wall when he needed to be. Maybe some of them, he got beat clean. Yeah, like that second Kraken goal. Love him to get a piece of that. I know it hits the crossbar, whatever it is. But that penalty kill in the third period, like we'll talk about the PK all season until something changes because it looked terrible again. They just had Linus Ullmark. He was their best player on the PK, which is what has to happen a lot. I thought he was tremendous. He was excellent. It was a great game from Ullmark. And what's funny is you look at his save percentage, though, and it's only, I think, about 909, 910. 3 goals against, just over 30 shots, which is not necessarily an outstanding stat line, right? Like, I think that was right where he was last season. But if he's giving you that all season, I'll take that 10 out of 10 times, Martian. Like, that was an easily Ullmark's best game of the season so far. And if he's giving you that every night, then you run to the bank.
Yeah, I think the important part there too is he was below 900 with like 5 minutes left in this game. And then, he was getting peppered a little bit. And then in overtime as well, I think he faced at least 4 or 5 shots in OT there too. So, he boosted those numbers when it counted. And he's always been kind of one of those goalies where I don't think he was seeing a ton of shots early in this game. And when he's not seeing a ton of shots early in games, that's kind of what you get from him. Maybe a 1 or 2 that like you don't maybe love, or he doesn't look quite himself. But when he really settles into a game and he's feeling his groove, he's got sweat on his back and he's chilling. He looks like a really, top-notch goalie. And I'm going to take a page out of your book here, Jack, and I'm going to use a football reference. And when it comes to goaltenders, he's a bell cow, buddy. He's a bell cow back there. And every chance you get to put him in the net, you got to do it.
Linus Ullmark ends this game with 30 saves on the dot, and he was perfect in the shootout. But the shootout, I think, was more so Ottawa stepping to the throttle with Tim Stützle and with Shane Pinto scoring. Drake Batherson missed on his opportunity, which would have been a beauty too. He pulled Grubauer out of the net. He just ended up missing high, trying to go back the other way. Other storylines in this game for the Ottawa Senators, and I don't know if they just changed. NHL.com has been bugging out. So it was actually 1 for 3. The Seattle Kraken went, not 1 for 5 on the power play. Big story has been the penalty kill. Jack, did you think it was any better tonight?
No. Just quite frankly, like I was ready to come on here and talk about the PK because it cost them a game, blah, blah, blah. And I tweeted it out. It's baffling that was the main reason they lost in the playoffs to the Toronto Maple Leafs. hands down. They got killed on the penalty kill, and they've done nothing to adjust or address it, whatever it is. Like the personnel, they switch up the forwards a ton, but the defense looked the same. I know you can't switch out defensemen. There's only 6 of them out there, but it's just frustrating. And I think it's really going to cost them this season. It already has cost them points this early on, and it almost did again. So it didn't look different to me at all. I don't know what they got to do. I got to be honest. I'm not a mastermind. I don't know how to do it, but to me, it's so clear that the other teams are just pre-scouting the Sens PK, or maybe they're going on our Twitter pages and looking at what we're talking about and how they need to stop letting 2 guys go down low, because it's the easiest thing in the world to attack. Like, how much time did Jordan Eberle or Chandler Stevenson have tonight? And they're lucky that it's the Kraken and those guys aren't, superstars. But in next week, it's going to be McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, I'm terrified. I'm terrified for that game because that's like one of the best power plays ever. So we'll cross that bridge, but I'm just until there's adjustments, it's just kind of hard. And obviously, they hit a couple posts on the PK as well. Ullmark makes some great saves. Sanderson's making diving plays, but it shouldn't have to be that hard to kill a penalty, boys.
Yeah, I mean,
every time it's complete clench every second.
The game plan for the other team is just to get that puck down low to one of those 2 guys on either side, and then the Sens are kind of handcuffed because they're playing that diamond situation where they've got one guy standing in front of the net to defend that pass cross seam, and it's almost impossible for them to stop it. It doesn't matter what player it is on those sides. I mean, you give it.
What did you just say, Martian?
What did I say?
It's almost impossible to stop.
Oh, I was wondering if I slipped up and said something crazy there, but no.
I had no idea where you were going with that, Ross.
The Tristan Jarry, it's almost impossible to stop. You got to take that out of the game. And the Sens need to take the diamond out of their game, man. I don't know what they got to do to change things up, but they've got to have 2 guys down low. And you got to, Linus Ullmark was their best penalty killer tonight, making some incredible saves on that penalty kill. But it's going to be a lot easier for him to stop pucks that aren't moving 12 feet across his body for him to have to go over and make an open net save. And the defenseman's kind of hopeless too, because he's just standing in the middle and you're getting a 12-foot hard saucer pass over that defenseman out of reach for Linus Ullmark. And it's an open cage for the guy on that other side there. They've got to find a way to get more bodies down in that lower area of the ice and prevent that pass. I would much prefer them to, give up a little bit of that middle area of the ice, because Linus Ullmark's going to have a much better chance to save a puck that's coming from an area where he can actually move and get the angle on the shooter and have a chance to make a save versus having to stretch his body out and do the splits or dive across the crease to make that save. I've been talking about it with some of my buddies offline here, boys, and they got to switch it up. They got to go to either the wedge. We've been talking about the wedge. I'm huge on this wedge concept here. It's a little bit of like a hybrid between the box and the diamond. I think they can easily make that adjustment and have a guy really protect that middle area of the ice while also having 2 guys in the down low area where they're making that cross seam pass. I'm not a coach either, Jack. I'm no mastermind either. I'm just a dummy. But trust me, I think that fixes the problem of at least that type of goal going in every single time, because it's too easy for NHL players to make that play.
So I always watch hockey, and I like to think I watch a lot of other games than the Ottawa Senators, and I don't know if I've ever seen so often the low flank guy as wide open as he is against the Ottawa Senators, and it bit them tonight as well. But it's just it's embarrassing. Like, you can't give up that shot because they just come to the net, and at the worst, they're going to get a rebound opportunity.
And part of the concept, I think, too, of the diamond is to keep the puck sort of in that top area, but like they're giving up too much space along the wall for them to make that play down to the down low area. So they got to change something there. I'm sure they're looking at it. I'm sure they're thinking about it. It's hard to make adjustments in the middle of the season when you're not practicing for the most part during the season. And they haven't been able to even get morning skates in to work on little things here and there. Hopefully they're going to try to take a look at that and make that adjustment, because that's a glaring weakness on the team right now.
The other thing too about the PK is it feels like they don't pre-scout who they're playing. Like it's the same every time. Whereas, are you not? There's video teams for this. There's ways to, and if, on the other side of it, it feels like the power play doesn't do it with the other team's PK. Like it's kind of just the same thing over and over again, and it's just so easy to exploit. And every team is good enough now on the power play to to get them on it. And Nashville had their looks too. They had 6 power plays, but otherwise this is looking like one of the worst PKs to start the season that we've seen. So I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough one, but we'll talk about it all season, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, we'll be wedging away at the PK throughout the season. But tonight doesn't cost them 2 points. Senators win 4-3 in a shootout. We'll get to our Sen Central standouts next. And the chat, you're listening to the postcast presented by Locked On Senators. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Game Time. Hockey is back, and nothing beats being in the arena for the opening games. Let's be real. Tickets can be a total headache to get between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team, have some freezing cold water on your hands. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's the ultimate life hack for scoring some amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. For example, Pilsy bought a single ticket because he was not trying to be a hassle in Martian's life, but he didn't realize Martian wanted to go to the game with them. So what did he do? He went right back to Game Time. It was no problem. There were great tickets available at a great price. So go check out the zone deals. They're a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. You can even find tickets for under $25 US. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Welcome back to the postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Linus Martian and Jack Richardson. How do you like that new tagline from Game Time? It's so sharp. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
I don't know if yeah, it's great. It's great.
Hell yeah. Let's
I like
go.
the way you said it more, Ross. I think
You deliver it well, Ross.
Tap,
Yeah.
ticket, go.
All the delivery.
Speaking of go,
What was the old tagline?
last minute tickets, lowest price is guaranteed.
I don't mind that either.
Yeah, Game Time. They've got to figure it out. And it is the only place we get tickets for games. It is awesome. So go check them out. Get that discount. While you're at it, the Senators are back at home on Saturday afternoon. It will be a 3:00 game at home. Then they host the Edmonton Oilers. Then they host the Philadelphia Flyers. They're not on the road until Washington on October 25th. So finally, some home cooking for the Ottawa Senators. They improved their home record to 1-1-0 on the season. Sen Central standouts. Who wants to go first, boys? I'll let you fight over it.
Go ahead, Jacko. It's all you, baby.
All right. I talked about the guy who's everyone's probably going to pick and is rightfully so. So I'm going to go another direction here. I'm going with Shane Pinto. Probably been a Sen Central standout every single game so far this season. He set a Sens record tonight, boys. The most goals through 5 games in Sens history. They threw up that graphic in the first period. I think he beats Alfie and Bob Kudelski, if I'm not mistaken.
Good?
I think that's good. Alfie for sure is good. And I think that's I'm surprised, man. I really am, because Pinto has been a guy who gets snake bitten early in the season every year. Takes him a while to get going. But he's always been a player where the Sens, when you talk about, this team's got depth, they're actually kind of scary. Pinto's been the guy where you're like on the third line, like he's got that depth, and he's now leading the NHL in goals a week into the season. It's no small feat. I don't expect him to maintain that pace or maintain that title, but he's hot right now and he's playing really well. He had chances for about 3 more goals tonight. So I think they just gotta have it as keep it going as long as he can. I think he's mixing up different line mates. I just really like what we're seeing from Shane Pinto, and I think it just makes them such a dangerous team.
Yeah, I loved how he's such a goal scorer now in his mind that he had that one slot chance where I don't know, I can't remember if it was a save or if he missed the net, but he was so upset. And this was after he already scored the first goal. He was so upset with himself that he didn't bury that one. So that's telling you a guy's got mad confidence where he thinks everything he shoots should be going in the back of the net. And it was a good chance, but we're gonna let it go, Shane. Don't worry. It's okay. You can miss the odd opportunity. They don't all have to go in. And my favorite thing with Pinto, and this is something he's always done, but boy, does he hang around in that middle slot all the time, right? That is his area, and that's where he's scoring a lot of his goals from. Sure, he had the tip. He had that one kind of fluky one, but the rest of them have been...
No, that wasn't that tip was...
No.
Between the legs against Buffalo.
two separate goals. The tip was not a fluke. That was an absolutely.
We're losing track of Pinto's goals here.
Yeah,
we're only at 6, buddy. We got problems because we can't count. None of us on this show.
Yeah, I was talking. The fluky one was the one where he kind of spun around, bad angle, and it kind of went off the pad of the goaltender. And I think that was the Tampa game. But the rest of them have been in that middle slot area. He's getting to the area where the puck's going to come to him, and his teammates can find him, and he's going to have a great shooting chance. And he's performing really nicely in that area there right now. Ross, is it my turn for my standout?
Yeah, I'll just add to it, though. Shane Pinto, 55% in the dot again tonight. The Sens have been the best face-off team in the league so far, and Pinto's doing his job.
Yeah, he is for sure. I'm going to go with, for my standout here, the 33 save man between the pipes. I think this is kind of an obvious one. He obviously had a fantastic game here tonight, especially in the latter half of the game and in overtime and in the shootout, for goodness sake. He stopped all 3 shots in the shootout too. Those don't even count on the score sheet here. But Linus Ullmark's got his swagger back here, boys. And I really like one of my favorite moments in the game is even after, his last start where he threw a little bit of extra salt and pepper on one of his glove saves, and it ended up costing him. It was the continuous motion goal where he threw it between his legs. Even after doing that, he's not afraid to keep that going. That's just one of his signature moves. I think it helps him get in a groove. It helps the team feel a little bit more confident around how he's playing as well. So I think Ullmark just had a very steady, very calming kind of presence back there for the boys, and I think it went a long way.
Calming is the perfect way to put it, because even in overtime where Ottawa was outshot 5-1, some of those slot chances that the Seattle Kraken were getting, no rebounds. And that was the big differentiator. And it didn't happen on one of the goals, one of the Stevenson goals, I believe, where it hit him, went down. They got one, or the Shane Wright goal where he got 1 whack, 2 whacks. The third one was the first goal of the game, where it's like, you probably want him to get the rebound on the first one and not have the whole havoc develop around him. But from that moment on, man, he was Velcro out there, and that was great to see. So I love the Linus Ullmark shutout, even though, Jack, he couldn't even get a stock up on the Senator stocks that Linus Martian does every day.
Spread the wealth. I like to spread the wealth. I had to get Perron in there. I thought it was big for him to get a goal after a bit of a worse performance last night. So I want to spread the love. I knew I was going to get Ullmark as my standout, so that's all it was, boys. No problem.
You were just waiting for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I just gave him more shine than the rest of the boys. I think he got an individual tweet, maybe 2, prior to the stocks. It's my stock. I can do what I want with them.
Goalie friendly show, but not on Twitter. Not on Twitter.
The other thing people don't really realize about the stocks too, it's more about what I'm expecting from the guys and then what they do. So to raise your stock, you got to do better than I expect you to do. And I expect Linus Ullmark to play like an all-star goaltender. That's what he is. So that's my justification for that. Don't come at me with my stocks.
Okay, fine. Then I'm going to go with the man who allowed this game to get to overtime as my Sen Central standout. It's got to be Dylan Cousins for me. Just a fun player to root for, and all that he's been through. And it just feels like he's just finding different ways to contribute every single night. 2 more shots, 2 more hits tonight. Gets that game-tying goal. He's 53% in the dot. I just love what I'm seeing from him. And I know there are still areas for improvement, like getting that puck out of his zone. Again, bit him today. But I see the vision with Dylan Cousins at 24 years old, that a guy that when he's 28, 29, and that 7.1 is really a $5 million contract based on the cap going up the way it is, I really think he's going to be an extremely valuable piece if he's not already. And doesn't it feel like, boys, he's got a clutch gene to him? Like, you think back to last year, that game where Detroit just pummeled Ottawa in the shot clock, and Dylan Cousins scores in the power play to win the game with 5 minutes left. This was as big of a goal as that, because I know that was in the middle of a playoff run and chase. This was, can we please stop the bleeding, as we thumbnailed this morning's show. So Dylan Cousins plays hero in this game, getting it tied up with less than 2 minutes left. And I still think there's so much untapped in his game that with the right coaching and the right environment, this guy could be a real 65, 70-point contributor. He's on a 63-point pace since joining Ottawa. And I think if you had told anyone when the trade was made that that's what would be coming to Ottawa for Josh Norris, a beloved player, great player when healthy, I think you would have been really excited with that output. So shout out to Rich Cuz for coming through tonight, because that really tweet was word for word. Dylan Cousins just saved my mental health, so he gets to be tonight's game.
Yeah, dude, he does have a clutch gene, Ross. And if you remember the 2021 World Juniors, he was the best player for that team. I believe they ended up winning that gold medal that year. I hope that wasn't one of the years they ended up disappointing us, but I don't think so. I think he ended up winning a gold medal there, and he had eight goals, 8 assists in that tournament. And he did have a clutch gene in that one too, scoring a lot of big goals for Team Canada. And he was that's where he had the nickname, the workhorse from Whitehorse. And we're going to see more and more of that as he continues to develop. And like I said earlier, the man strength is coming with him. So he's I can only expect bigger and better things as he continues to get more physical and stronger.
And I mean, you can add into that shorty that was the insurance goal in Toronto in Game 5 on the road. That was a big boy goal, one timer on a 2-on-1.
He was a 7th overall pick too, like 6 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, man. Like he's got that potential, and he's slotted perfectly behind Timmy, with Pinto, whatever you want to call it. Like we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Their center depth is very good, and I think that in 2-3 years, assuming they get Pinto at a good number based on what the clip he's scoring at, like this could be one of the best center depth teams in the NHL. And that's not even crazy to say that it's up there right now with the way all these guys are playing. Like the fact that Stützle has 1 goal in 5 games and he feels like he's still playing okay, and they're still supplementing offense through the middle of the ice is a great sign overall for the Sens.
I'm so fired up. And I just looked it up. The year that he had 16 points, they didn't win, Martian, but the year he had 9 points in 7 games at the World Juniors, they did get the gold medal. So Dylan Cousins does have a World Junior gold under his belt. Boys, 4-3, the final score. Shootout win for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Jack, any final thoughts on today's show?
Just take the points. Take the points in October. Stop the bleeding a little bit. They ended the skid. Just turn it into 2 in a row. You got to beat the Islanders again on Saturday. But I do think that last night's reaction was warranted. That was an abysmal effort, bad game, but they bounced back well. And they got to get credit for sticking with it. Late goal from Cousins and figuring it out in the shootout. So just got to keep riding the momentum. Every point without Brady Tkachuk is a good point. That's my motto for the next 2 months.
Marshy, final thoughts from you, brother?
Yeah, they had a lot they can build off of with this game, right? They a little bit of confidence coming back. I think there's things that they can clean up that they know they can clean up. I think they're going to slowly improve here as they go along. And I love the matchup against the Islanders. They just got their first win of the season tonight, I believe, against the Oilers. So we're not going to have that same storyline with that we had against Buffalo with these guys coming in looking for their first win of the season. That's one I wanted to avoid. So that's good. And I think you're not going to be able to look this up in time, Ross, but I think the Sens have the most wins against the Islanders than they do against any other team in the NHL. At least that was the case a few years ago. And matinees always serve us well against the Islanders too in history. So I like coming into this one.
We're gonna get that stat in tomorrow's Locked On Senators. There'll be a nice earlier drop for you guys on Friday. Let's get to the chat where Sens fans in Van were despondent. Great word of the day, despondent. Until the tying goal, including Mom and the Pup. We'll never know how impactful that goal was. # Sen sliding doors moment. I felt that way about one of the saves Ullmark made after, I think it was the second goal, but he made some huge saves. Big goal, though, from Dylan Cousins. And Adam Rogers, Pinto might need to make his theme song based on the K-pop Demon Hunters Golden because his salary is going up, up, up. I'm not a K-pop guy. I don't know what that is, but if the thing says up, 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 that's what the stock is on Shane Pinto. So shout out to Adam and Sens fans and Van. Appreciate the heck out of you guys for chiming in to the guitar case here on the show. Shout out to the over 300 citizens that have been joining us throughout the postcast. We appreciate you guys joining us after each and every Ottawa Senators game, although not on Saturday. We will take a rare day off. We will have Intermartians at Lalim's Martian on Twitter. But no postcast. The odds that Pilsy and I are both best men in weddings on the same day, I don't know what that would be, but it'd be plus money for sure. And that's the case. So we will both be unavailable on Saturday, but we will have tomorrow's episode for you, and we'll be back on Monday to break down the weekend as well. For more, you can find Jack and Martian on Twitter. Their links to the handles are below in the description of this video. I'm Ross Levitan. And go Sens go. Feels good to hear the flutes. Feels good to hear 4-3 Senators win. Feels good to score late to tie the game. Let's bring that momentum into Saturday. You heard Shane Pinto after the game tell Claire Hanna, we're going to go on a run. We're going to play better. So let's see the boys come through. For Martian and Jack Richardson, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub for everything you need, whether it's game day or just a day on the town. Find them at 779 Bank Street, walking distance from Lansdowne, and the Sen Shuttle is available for Senators home games. Go check it out right now, GlebeCentralPub.com.